charisma is about the self-acceptance, living out the identity. Because what you have, David, is what I don't have, and vice versa. I have something in me to give the strength that you don't have. At one point, I also realized I had no money in my bank account, that I had to borrow money from my girlfriend. $11.90 for a bowl of beef bulgogi in the Korean restaurant for lunch.
Welcome to Coach as Entrepreneur, the show for coaches building real businesses with systems, strategy, and heart. Build the system, serve your clients, and support your family. Today, we're speaking with Jeremiah Teo, the charisma business coach who's helped over 5,000 corporate leaders and C-suite executives transform imposter syndrome into confident, inspirational leadership. If you've ever felt like a fake at work, this episode is for you. Jeremiah, thank you for joining me today. So
Thanks
just
for having
quickly,
me.
Jeremiah, where are you currently in the world?
So right now, I'm currently based in Hong Kong and just running my coaching business hybrid mode and traveling as well. So pretty flexible and agile in that
Great.
sense.
And yeah, that's super exciting. I'm currently in Seoul, South Korea, and yeah, working hybrid, working remotely. It's one of the benefits of working for yourself is you can kind of choose where to work and the clients that you work with. How long have you been working as a coach?
So for me, my journey actually started in
Mhm.
2010 January, and the backstory was because in Singapore, where I was born and raised in, right, every man in Singapore has the obligation to serve in the army for at least 1 year, 10 months to 2 years, just like in South Korea as well. Its conscription basis is necessary, and I did my part for around 2 years. I finished my military service in November 2009. And back then, I had a mate in church. His name is Elgin, right? So he asked me, hey, Jeremiah, so you have 9 months before university. What are you going to do with your life? And I was baffled because I never thought too far. It's great to have this free time for games, dating, or friends or whatsoever, right? Never think too far about what I want to achieve in my life. And he asked me, do you want to be a coach for students and teachers? And my answer was absolutely no. Because I was and I'm still an introvert. I never liked the idea of public speaking when I first started in school or
Mhm.
prior to the start of career in the coaching. But I think one thing that he told me even impacted me to this day after 15 years is that he asked me the question is, Jeremiah, do you know there's at least one thing in life you can't avoid that will in your career and relationships? And I was thinking like, what could it be? I'm not sure. So tell me, Elgin, tell me. And he told me that is communication. That is public speaking. Even right now on this podcast is communication spoken through words on video, right? University, you have to present well to get your A grades. At work, you have to communicate well to gain the trust of your boss. And same
Mhm.
thing in relationships. If you want to find the love of your life, you got to present yourself in a way that could gain the trust of your future partner. And he told me, if that's the case, if you can't avoid communicating, then why not try to overcome the fear of communication, especially in public speaking? So I was emotionally disturbed, but logically so, because there's no way I could avoid that challenge in life. So guess what? In a way, I had no choice but say
Mhm.
yes, let's do it, because I see the irresistible benefits that I need to
Mhm.
grow in myself.
So you went
So,
to university. What did you study in university?
so in Singapore, I graduated with the major in actually degree in linguistics and multilingual studies from Nanyang
Okay.
Technological University, normally called NTU. So that is related to
Mhm.
language and culture,
Mhm.
language and psychology. So even before choosing that, I was thinking like, actually, I really want to get into this course because it will set me apart when
Mhm.
it comes to communication, because we need languages, right, to speak
Yeah.
well, to present well or to write well. So it's a no-brainer for me to do my best in this course that I was just
Mhm.
grateful to be enrolled into.
And then right after university, you graduated, and then how did you start your business in coaching then? Was it right after you graduated, you just started your business, or
Mm.
was it something you started to you could dive into while you were in university?
Mm. I think the beauty of the coaching industry, even for new beginners like me,
Mm,
rookie like me back then, is that there's never full-time employment, at the start of the gig. That at a young age, young start, that we have to learn the skills of marketing, self-branding, and to persuade others to give us a chance to
yeah.
speak, be pro bono or paid. And for me, even university, I found that, yes, I was given the opportunities to teach in schools, but I do have to strive to thrive in
Mhm.
terms of marketing myself. So the transition more from, coaching students, teachers to more like sales professionals, insurance agents, financial planners took place in the university years, 2012 to
Mhm.
2011,
Yeah.
2015 in that sense. And that was a slow,
Yeah.
arduous transition, and but so worth it. Yeah.
And so let's just briefly define the your style of coaching, right? In terms of, in your words,
Mm.
how do you or what do you work on with leaders or executives for your coaching?
I think firstly, I'll define the
Mhm.
coaching process first. I mean, different experts, researchers have different definitions. But to me, it's all about, pardon me, facilitating the
Mhm.
self-awareness in different people to have the self-realization within themselves to actualize the
Mhm.
dreams that they want to attain. For example, for someone who want to lose weight, right? Obvious advice would be eat less, exercise more. But everyone is different. And maybe the root problem for the person, it could be in terms of sleep issue, or maybe it can be mental health, maybe it can be some belief systems that are way flawed
Mhm.
right at the start. So for me, when it comes to coaching my clients in the areas of charisma, that confident presentation of ourselves in person,
Mm.
online, and branding, it's all about helping them to be aware what exactly is the root problem
Mm.
hindering the success, who they want to be,
Yeah.
what are their values, and to provide that customized step by step to get to the dream stages of success, however define success and career attainment. Granted, everyone is different. So that active listening, understanding is a
Mm.
must for any coach including me, right? In my
Yeah.
process, I have to listen carefully, knowing what to echo back or to share relevantly to the person. So in general, that'll be the sense of the
Mhm.
generic coaching process.
So as you were starting, especially as someone
Mm.
young who's just coming out of university, starting the business, I imagine if you take us back to that time, what was your experience of building your business at that age, at that time?
That was rough. I think a lot of times really wanted to give up. And truth be told, as a new university students, that could bet many side hustles. For example, like giving tuition, right? Could be a good job, one-to-one,
Mhm.
rather easy money and high impact as well. So there are many competing opportunities that was very tempting for me to give up on coaching. But then the question was, why am I
Mhm.
doing what I'm doing? Why do I want to be a coach? Why do I see that coaching is so valuable,
Yeah.
high impact, and value adding to people when they go through the process? And that's what I think often the answer, it doesn't come from the so-called gurus, like from Mars. Like we could give like observations, principles, but at the end, I like to see myself as a guide to the transformation from
Mhm.
within themselves. That is not motivation, but it's inspiration from within, that from within themselves, they could be the best version. And I love that role that I can be, that I can't say I am the reason
Mm.
why they become better, but at least I
Yeah.
play a significant part to make it clearer for them. So I see that really fulfilling and really fun. So no matter how difficult it is with the
Right.
financial hurdles or disappointment, the plenty of rejections that coaches will
Yeah.
always receive behind the scenes. And I just find that sufficient power to
Mhm.
pull through and continue.
So it's interesting for me because something interesting about me is like when I was in high school, I actually got certified to sell and licensed to sell life insurance as a high school senior, which is a
Wow.
very weird part-time job as a high school student to go and sell life insurance. And
Mm,
so I found it really
mm,
difficult to try to sell it because people would be like, "What do you know about life and selling life insurance?" So I thought this was a great idea and could be a great like job and like professional trajectory at that age, but I find it very difficult. And so I think my question is like, as someone who's younger, getting
mm,
into coaching and talking to people, as you're building that business, obviously you were able to talk to people and to get them to work with you. But I would imagine, people you would have had some
mm.
pushback in terms of how much do you really know and how good are you at this that you can provide
Yeah.
me this coaching.
Yeah.
So I understand you had the impetus within you for helping people to change, but how do you overcome that conversation of
Mm.
with your level of experience or whatever reasons people might have thrown at you, how did you overcome those to get clients and get that ball rolling for yourself in the beginning?
Yeah, it's a great question because for any rookie, new coaches, the question's about credibility. In short, why should I trust you with my
Right.
money, my time? Exactly who are you, despite any age? The question is how much experience you have. What are
Yeah.
the results that you have? How can I trust that you get me to where I want to be? Very result oriented, no investment, which is fair because clients are going to put in money, time, and effort and emotions as well. So it's only fair to echo the reasonable key performing
Hmm.
indicators, KPIs, in expectation. And I would say for back then or any new coaches, right? New, not say age like
Yes.
young or old, just new in the industry, is to really create more opportunities to get
Mm.
your results, like your testimonials, your social proof, to show that actually, even though I might be new to the game, but I have plenty of results to prove my credentials are strong. So, for example, classic one is back then in the university, right? Pro bono or rather low payment
Hmm.
speeches, right? That is what I offer in return for the opportunity. And if you think about that, even this pro bono is a high investment from the organization to a young coach. That means young in terms of little
Hmm.
years of experience in coaching, because they're giving you the resources, the
Yeah.
time, the people to trust that you're going to deliver the impact. And I would say that is a misconception. Many rather new coaches would say, I should
Hmm.
charge high right away. I should charge like 4 figures, 5 figures. And to me, you're running a sprint. You're not running a
Hmm.
marathon of business. So again, back to the question, my advice is as quick as possible, as much as possible, garner as many credentials, results, your testimonials, recommendation, because that would be your credential to
Yeah.
be more credible in the eyes of your future
Right.
investors or clients.
So what I was picking up on that as well is like, so at the beginning too, you were doing like speaking engagements as well. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's right.
I think what you're saying is right in terms of in the beginning, a lot of the coaching federations or the certifications require you to do practice coaching. And so when you're doing that, when you're working with clients, you should always try to ask for a testimonial, right? But then also when you can get in front of as many people as possible so that you can create visibility for yourself. Like practically as a business, right? If people don't see you, they don't know who you are or what you do, they're not going to come to you for work, right? And I think if like this is it's such an important thing is for coaches, you need to create visibility for yourself, and that's either through speaking engagements, writing publications, or also even just going out and
Mhm.
talking with friends and family who you haven't talked to in a while, so that they know what you're doing. Because you just have to create visibility, and at the beginning, you just got to do that any way you can.
Mhm.
So I love that that's what you were doing at the beginning and that's what you did because it's I don't want to call it like there's some connotations now with like the hustle culture where you're just like killing yourself trying to do something, but it,
Mhm.
if you're going to run a business, you have to have the desire and the motivation to push yourself to go out and be out there. So I think that's great as a, especially when you're starting a business,
Mhm.
that's you need to be out there, right? So when you were starting beyond you're just getting started in this new thing, you're kind of a first year, second year coach. What were some of the what were some of the other challenges that you faced while you were starting?
I think apart from the external challenges, then I'll
Mm,
say the internal ones. That coming back to imposter syndrome. Back then, I was 23, 24. And then the question is, why would someone pay money to listen to rather young person? And I didn't realize that age is relative, but impact is the
mm,
objective measurement of what we can prove. So definitely the internal voices that I am not good enough to be a public speaker. Who are you? You're just a student trying to be someone, but
mm,
not someone yet. And all these voices can be legitimate because there's evidence to it. I mean, I don't think they are necessary fake voices, but I think right now I see as reminders that if I am able to create that irrefutable evidence that despite all this, even though there's internal or external challenges, I have enough evidence to prove that I can be the one to add the value. So, for example, in university, I remember there was a time invited to share speech to uh, 30 plus engineers, right? One of the gig that was, organized by an agency. I mean, that's collaboration with the
mhm,
agency to give me the opportunity. And then the honest conversation I had with them is, I'm 24 and I'm a university student, but I know how to get
mhm,
you to be more persuasive and to give you the strength to be a persuasive and high value adding
mm,
communicators. And storytelling is powerful because that will help to connect with them as well. So all in all, coming back to your question, I think other challenges is my own voices, my own imposter syndrome, and it's not immediate panacea. There's a journey of self-discovery and to bounce back from failures, resilience. It's a journey. It's not a quick sprint. It's really a marathon of ups and downs, growth and bumps.
How did you so you had these internal thoughts. I think we all have these, doubts and fears that kind of speak to us. How did you kind of overcome these, the negative thoughts that were kind of coming in?
Yeah, it was really tough. For instance, I think the lowest point of my life and career happened in April 2017. Literally, I
Mm,
couldn't function well. I couldn't perform well in my work capabilities. And from February to April 2027, 2017, pardon me, was
mm,
depressing stages of my life. Afterwards, I realized I was diagnosed with mild
oh,
PTSD and just struggling with that, identity or in addition to other challenges, um, but more of the
mhm.
self-identity crisis. Quarter life
Okay.
crisis, I reckon. I think back then I learned quarter life crisis is really real as a young adult. But that was my lowest point where I needed to
Mhm,
leave Singapore, where to me is a very
mm,
comfortable bubble. No doubt in the business world, it is competitive, but then the community, the healthy, I must say, the family is healthy, environment is great, friends are wonderful in church and everything. But
mhm,
because it's too comfortable and I'm not able to
mhm.
discover who I can be, so I decided to
Okay.
leave for Sydney to go and further my studies at the same time venture into new environment for coaching opportunities as well. So I must say that was the best thing that happened in my life because only then in that journey, not only was I able to get to know myself more through therapy, through
Mhm,
seeing psychologies, I think the key
mm,
word is self-awareness
mm,
and self-acceptance. That am I aware of my strength? Am I able to accept that no matter what, there can be those flaws? And for example, I feel like often back then, I'm not affirmed and
mhm,
praised by my dad. No doubt he's responsible. He's a great dad. He's really wonderful. He loves me in his own way through actions, but never through words in general. And I felt I couldn't feel affirmed or
Mhm.
accepted as a rather successful son
Mm.
in his eyes. And that took me some time to realize instead of seeing what my dad couldn't do, the question is for me as a young adult, what can I do to mend the gap and to ensure that my dad doing his best is wonderful and I
Mhm.
can be a better son to him? But all this is in interconnection because who we are affects what we do. So that I would say is the pivotal moment of transformation to be
Mm.
even more resilient in the entrepreneur journey as a
Can I
coach.
ask, at that time within your peer group, did you have anybody that you could, any friends or anybody that you could speak to about your journey as an entrepreneur, as a coach?
Yeah, very tough and good question. Even now, I'm struggling as well. Even with my wife, the same thing. Example, I'm struggling with my
Mhm.
emotions, my thoughts, but I think for my personality as an INFJ, as an introvert, that often what helps me is to get clarity of what I'm thinking
Mhm.
and what I'm feeling. It might be because of past us disappointments in conversation whereby I was trying to share what I think and feel in great confusion, and my friend couldn't find the words to help me
Mhm.
to find greater clarity. In short, because of my lack of clarity, my friend
Yeah.
got frustrated and he couldn't help me. And it made me feel worse because at the end, I was worse off than before. So even coming back
Mhm.
with entrepreneur journeys, I think, again, there's different
Right.
methods to everyone, right? Like different journey as well, journaling as well. But yeah, journaling is what helps me
Yeah.
to first write down. At least I know how to use words to describe. Then perhaps ask coaching questions
Yeah.
to get the advice back, like, to get the relevant advice, the solicited advice I need for my challenge.
Yeah.
So that's what
Well,
would do
because
for
I
me.
asked the question because a lot of the coaches who I've spoken to, um, they also when I'm if it's a business question or maybe they have a difficult leader that they're working with, they have a peer group of other coaches who they can kind of talk with to talk about, I've got this business challenge, I've got this difficult leader. How do I do X, Y, Z? And so I asked the question because especially at the age of 24, 25, one, not a lot of people really, one, the whole world of coaching isn't that big. Two, entrepreneurs are
Back
there's
then,
even
yeah.
fewer entrepreneurs. And then at your age, I would assume that even fewer people even understand what you're going through. And so, um,
Mm,
you know, if you have someone who understands kind of the situation you're walking through. Anyways, that was kind of the question, is if you had people around you
yes,
that you could actually
yes.
talk to or not, because the whole entrepreneur journey
Mm,
the, can be a very isolating experience. Yeah. And so, yeah, when you have people you're walking with in community, who understand, then it's like you can support each other through the difficult situations.
yeah,
Mhm.
coming to what you shared, I think it reminds me that I think what was lacking that might has not helped in my own
Mhm.
journey in 2017 is because, like you said, I didn't have a community
Mm.
also or inner circle of entrepreneurs in coaching industry
Yeah.
that I could seek help from. Granted, I could know some, people, networking, collaboration, but can I call them in as my
Yeah.
inner circle peers? It's not possible. So I didn't have, and I wish I had.
Yeah. I think life is always done better, or is always better when you can do it with other people. And if you can get married and have a spouse and children, I think that often makes life more interesting. But it's nice to share. And then also with like business, and if you have other people who you can share that with, I think it helps to unload yourself of some of those burdens. Yeah, just because you're gonna go through things that are hard, and there are people who have already gone through what you've been through, and if you can find them to share and get advice, that I think that is helpful. So you started with college students or within the education academic arena, and then did the audience and the people you work with they changed. So now as you're working, do you work with a specific
Mm.
group of professionals, or is it just anybody who's looking for help with speaking and charisma?
Definitely have to be very specific in terms of finding the right fit when it comes to the high performing collaboration partnership. Because just like in nice relationships, right? If you get the wrong person, be a wife or be a business partner, then the result is going to be disastrous. And the same thing in coaching partnership. We have to qualify the right client that we're going to work with. A lot of time the failed ventures is not really because of the process, because right at the start
Mhm.
it wasn't compatible. So who will I look for is more important is the attitude and the character. And in terms of like really open to the suggestion of the coach, really intend to grow, have the growth mindset, and willing to be proactive, right? I think that is definitely non-negotiable. Definitely in terms of leadership, influence, I want to, and I'm working with people of such C-suite leaders, be in finance or in education sector,
Yeah.
high tech, and etc. Those people, as of now, I want to work. I'm working with them specifically because it's a question of influence that I used to want to work with anyone because I want to help everyone at one at a time. But the older I get, I realize it's just not possible to help everyone one at a time with high quality. But then the question is to be more efficient at optimal level. Is there a way that I could help more people with the same
Mhm.
rather energy input or resource input? And the question or the answer is the coaching the leaders. That once the leader is doing well, the leaders will steer the ship, pardon me, and navigate them to the promised land. And to me, I think that is even more, wide range impactful to the number of people can be influenced, to be better meaning in terms of maybe emotional health, work capacity, or whatever that they need to perform well at workplaces. We all need a good leader can be empowering and trusting and also giving us the direction. So I will work with leaders as such in the industries,
Right.
different industries can be.
So this is a really interesting point about client selection, because when you're working one to one, you can't work with everybody there, and you don't work well with everybody as much as we try to be, right? So in your process
Yes.
for your client selection, you highlighted a couple of different points and types of characteristics of people. Do you use like an intake form or an assessment to help you with the client assessment, or do you kind of have a meeting and then kind of, you know, a lot of coaches will do like chemistry sessions to see are we a fit or not? What is your process for client selection?
I used to love
Mhm.
including intake forms, but then again, it's
Mm.
very non-personal that I can't really know the person's personality or the rapport, chemistry as well. So used to be, never these days, because I rather get to know them through discovery call. Actually,
Yeah.
for us, it's a chemistry call to know if can we vibe, can we are
Mhm.
we on the same wavelength in terms of like the alignment of goals, values. Now, say values, right? I think it's important. If the value, for example, the client which I met before is that, hey, I just want to have quick results and not giving effort. You know what? I
Mm.
don't really want to grow. I just really want to do it because my boss asked me to do so. To
Yeah.
me, it's a red flag because the attitude, the character, the intention are all in the
Yeah.
wrong set of intention. So I never want to work people like that because they felt forced to be even in coaching. So that will be the people I never want to work with because right off at the start
Mhm.
is going to be a disaster. Coming back, chemistry call, yes, for us to know each other, that there's a mutual yes and a mutual agreement. Let's do it.
Mhm.
The excitement, the energy. I think discovery call, chemistry
Yeah.
call, very important.
Okay. And I love that you started with using some kind of form, but that it was impersonal, and then you switched
Mm,
to doing the in person or on the phone, Zoom, whatever conversation, so that you actually get a more
mm,
personalized feel for that person, right? Just because technology informs doesn't actually inform you of the person. So, you've worked with, you didn't become a coach to be a marketer. But if you want to build a sustainable business, you need a system that works for you while you're coaching. Coach Ops is designed to help you go from unpredictable referrals to a reliable marketing system without it feeling pushy or salesy. If you're ready to build something systematic, visit kyber5.com/Coach Ops. Over 5,000 leaders and people, helping them with their speaking, their communication, and charisma, right? Over that
Mm.
time, is there any specific people that, you know, come to mind when you think about the people that you've worked with and their their story of change?
Definitely. I think I can't name the person just
Yeah.
in terms of anonymity, but I'll call her Jane, in Singapore. And she's of Pakistani background. She connected with me on LinkedIn, I think was in
Mhm.
2020, when the world changed because of COVID.
Yeah.
That's why online branding is very important for hybrid, mobile,
Mhm.
flexible arrangement. So with crisis
Yes.
comes opportunity, right? Coming with Jane, right? We work on public speaking
Okay.
on Zoom about charisma, presentation. Then I realized a lot of the problem, it's not because of skill set, competence wise, it's because of our own trauma,
Mm.
family trauma, or growing up trauma. And that really always have a memorable episode in my journey because from that traumatic experience, that who she wants to be, at least after 8 weeks, 2 months of intensive sessions, and after follow up to see that narrative that she used to have do not have any control
Mhm.
in who she is right now. That yes, there could be bondages that stop her from becoming successful in the past, but the past does
Right.
not define her future. And that will always be one episode where anytime, even nowadays, there can be discouragement. But to think that I can, or rather I had done it, if I had done it before, I could do it
Mm.
again for different people because that value added was just
Mhm.
indescribably satisfying. So I'll say Jane in 2020, and now a renowned public speaker, in tech. So that was really very
Yeah.
privileged
And I
and
think that's
grateful.
why a
Yeah.
lot of coaches work, do the work that they're doing, right? Because there are these moments that they work with somebody and ultimately change the trajectory of their life. And I think it's exciting just to be part of somebody's story in that way, where you can help them to even, reevaluate how they perceive of themselves and to grow and to be able to do more than what they even thought they could do, right? Yeah,
Yes.
that's really exciting and very, very cool. I want to talk a little bit about your business and the current state you're at now. So currently, you're normally in Singapore. You're currently in Hong Kong right now. Are you currently running your business as a solo enterprise, or do you have a small team? How is your business kind of designed right now?
Mm. So
Mhm.
I have a small team right now where I work with employees from not from Singapore or Hong Kong, but they are from Philippines, really
Yeah.
high quality workers. And let's talk about business, right? Numbers, cash flow. For coaches, sometimes it's very tempting to think about let's grow big to go big, right? Let's grow big to go big. But without realizing that growing big before going big, you have big costs to handle, huge burdens to manage. Often it looks like dreamy, flashy ideals without realizing the reality of the day-to-day business operation. So I used to have that. I tried a bit, realized that I'm losing
Mhm.
more money than I could earn. Doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. And so I have a small team right now I work with. I find that in terms of the efficiency with a lean team, things happen more
Mhm.
efficiently, faster,
Yeah.
more productive, just because, right, it is leaner, it's more optimal in terms of, addressing to the needs of the clients. And in our line, coaching industry, right? Often it's about quick to respond, relevant answers to the problems. And that, I would say, take a rather small team, not a big one, because sometimes the bigger it is, the more bureaucratic,
Yeah.
slower it can be as well. So that is mine. Around the business,
Mhm.
online registered, and team members are overseas.
I was like smirking and laughing as you're talking about scaling because I think everybody has a no, not okay, not everybody. Many people have a dream of growing and getting big because it's kind of
Mhm.
yeah, why not? If you can build your business, you want to be successful, and so the way most people think about success is let's get big, let's get well recognized, let's maybe write a book. But and I've heard many stories of people who thought let's get big without really thinking through how do I want my life to look like and how do I want to build a business that scales. I was speaking with another coach who had a friend in Europe. They started their coaching business took off like seven figures within the first year, but and then they wanted to scale
Mm.
because yeah, they're doing great. Let's scale. Makes sense. But the way they tried to scale completely turned the business into like a beast that they had no control over. And it got to the point where they would have
Mhm.
like a staff meeting. And this coach was so frustrated, she actually just got up and left the staff meeting for her company. She came back 15 minutes later and they didn't recognize that she was gone.
Oh,
And so, like, when coaches talk about scaling, I think it's really important to think about what is
yep.
the business you're building? What does that look like for you? What's the kind of
Mm.
life you want to have for yourself, for your family? And when you talk about that scale, how do you build it in a way that actually aligns with your values or the future that you want to
Mm.
paint for yourself? Because there's a
Yep.
there's a
Yep.
there are lots of ways to go about it. There's no one perfect way, but there's a lot of ways that's
Yep.
just going to end up where you're going to be have more white hair and a lot of stress. And as you're
Right.
saying, maybe not even more money,
And
maybe less money, right? Because
I want to touch on to what you said about like dream or rather
Mhm.
success, what you want in life. And often with many leaders I coached, the common denominator in the disillusion is that I want to be successful just like someone else. If I'm as successful as that entrepreneur or as a leader in terms of money,
Yeah.
status, recognition, like I've reached a
Mm.
pinnacle of my life, then only to realize that it's so lonely and the pinnacle, it doesn't make sense. And coming back, right, success
Mhm.
is very individual. There's no right or wrong about
Yeah.
success. If this person wants more money, good for him. If he really, really wants more money for clear purpose, that's fine. But do I want more money? Because money can bring opportunities, money can bring curses, money can bring many undemanded attention and just ill-intended
Mhm.
people around you. So even with success, I don't think it's about, or more importantly, it's not trying to chase what people want as your own, but rather is what do
Well,
you want to have that you can say, if I have it,
mhm.
I'm truly happy. For instance, family, right? Family
Yeah.
relationship is wealth for me, right? Or just time for myself with people, it is golden. But
Right.
again, everyone is different. So not chase other people's dream
Mhm.
will be my advice. Chase your own dreams that make you successful. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree. And that's why when I talk with coaches about their business, it's like, what kind of business do you want to build? Because, frankly, there's, there are coaches you know, who are just trying to get by, who haven't really cracked the code and they're just trying to get by. There are coaches who are, who spend a lot of time coaching but then they're not necessarily making the money that they need to be making to care for their families, and that's just because maybe they're using an app or one of those other services, and so whatever their hourly rate is, they get it's capped. But then if you're working on an hourly rate, is do you it's a whole different conversation of do you want to be doing coaching or do you want to be doing another profession, and if that's what you're doing. Yeah.
No, it's okay. And I thought I want to add on to what you shared because I was reminded in Sydney, right? Yes, I was in a
Hmm.
new land of opportunities. Same thing with problems. Even in Sydney, I was saying, even after 10 years of coaching
Mm.
and with COVID happening, at one point I was doing Uber for 2 years,
Mm.
just as a side hustle to sustain the necessary income to pay off the expenses. And as well, at one point, I think the good thing in Sydney, where even like hard labor
Hmm.
work, it pays a lot. Back then, that was a job. I was in a warehouse for 2 weeks, right? And in Australian dollars, I believe every hour is about maybe
Okay.
17 Australian dollars. And 2 weeks is a lot of money. I think I earned around 900 Australian dollars at the end of 2 weeks. Granted, lack of clients
Mm.
because of the world changes, disruptions, and
Yeah.
bills need to be paid. So at one point, I also realized I have no money in my bank account because just challenges, expenses, costs, and etc. That I had to borrow
Mm.
money from my girlfriend, $11.90 for a bowl of beef bulgogi in the Korean restaurant for lunch at Lidcombe,
Hmm.
right in Sydney. So that was maybe another downtime. But again, you know what? That is what makes life beautiful because that makes me more grateful for every
Yeah.
opportunity that client comes to me and trusts me that I can give them value. So a lot of times coaches will look like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm really doing very well, but there's so many setbacks that we don't know. And it's
Yeah.
normal. It is okay because it always comes in the package. Yeah.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because I think that also opens up the door to people to know that it's okay if you're not being successful. But I think,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people do struggle, especially in the coaching industry, of cracking that code to how do we be successful. Well, let's kind of pivot here. So talking through your life and your experiences of coaching. So university student, started coaching. You went through some struggles, and then you moved to Australia. And even as while you were in Australia, you picked up some side work, right? Which is fine, right? That we all go through these challenges, ups and downs.
Just,
So now, in terms of your business, you're full time working on your coaching business, correct? And
yeah. And a full
a full
time as
and
well.
full time
Yeah.
as well as.
Sorry. Oh, just right now as well, working in a university, to do lectures to undergraduates and postgraduates, masters and PhD students. So that is where, in Hong Kong, I'm able to do both full
Mhm.
time with flexibility in agreement. Even with the law itself, there's outside practice.
Mhm.
Many of you might not know, where university lecturers, well, you might be having a rather full time contract, but at the same time, you're allowed for outside practice. What matters is
Mhm.
just declaration, and then
I
the
see.
rest is a partnership. So just grateful, yeah, for this both work to be
Yeah.
flourishing at the point right now. It's a good problem of more clients,
Yeah.
lesser time, but
So
praise God for that.
so now you're at
Yeah,
this point, right, where it's been. So you started in. I'm trying to remember. Was it 2014? 2010. Okay, so 2010. So
2010
15
January.
years working in
Yeah.
coaching, specifically in the arena of charisma and communication. And now you're doing coaching, you're teaching as well, which is wonderful. And I think there's a lot of coaches who do very similar, like they're doing coaching, they're doing speaking, or further education, like in academia teaching. For your coaching business though, what are some of the things that you're doing that is helping you to grow your business, so that you kind of continue to have clients
Mm,
coming through the door?
mm, great. So definitely one is to reinvest the profits
Mhm.
or the revenue that I get into making the products much better. So one of the program that I'm offering, apart from charisma coaching and same with leadership coaching, is the LinkedIn branding to help our clients to create a stronger brand that attracts vast opportunities for business and career. And that needs
Mhm.
resources. That needs the metrics analysis apps apart from the LinkedIn metrics itself, which is great as well, and the manpower to to facilitate
Mhm.
that process as well. So what helps me to scale is to really reinvest that. to grow the people behind the products, the people behind the
Yeah.
service, all the apps that will
Hmm.
make the service even better. So right now, that would be a key focus
I
strategy
see.
in this year for our team.
Okay. Wonderful. I have my technology brain and like product brain are firing off, but
Yeah,
they don't necessarily apply
the good ideas
for
coming.
this audience. So I'm just wondering where to go from there.
It's very normal.
Are there any specific systems or tools that you're also using for your business that you find that have been really helpful for you?
Yeah, low cost. In fact, right now, recently I adopted the Phantom AI note taker.
Hmm.
Absolute blessing. All right. Really trying to adopt, and I also want to address the misconception again for
Hmm.
maybe many coaches as well. Again, to go big, we have to grow big. We have to adopt all this expensive subscription and pay
Yeah.
lots of money for this and that. But actually, the cost can be much lower than you think. The necessary cost, the unavoidable
Hmm.
cost can be much lower. Like, why do we need to pay so much for a fancy, luxurious app for maybe minute taking or translation or
Yeah.
voice cloning? Maybe you just need a note taker, even a free one like Phantom AI. No
Yeah.
affiliation, just love the product.
Well, so that's a really good point. There's lots of tools that can help you, and then there's also like other tools like Otter AI or even like Google. I know
Mm,
Google has Gemini built into it now too. So lots of these tools are out there and very helpful in terms of when you're doing Zoom calls or calls like this where you can take the transcripts and you can ask questions. So if you haven't tried it, if you can get the transcript, you should ask questions where it's like, over during this discussion, what were some of the like pain points he had? Or because the tools, like we
mm,
only notice whatever we can notice, but it's never 100% of the conversation. But you can ask an AI to analyze and ask like where were some points of friction, where were, so there's lots of analysis that you can actually go back and kind of do like that instant replay kind of idea to pick up on other things that you might have missed. Or even as a coach, you can ask it
yes.
like, what could have I done better? Right. How could I
Mm,
have asked a different question in a
agree.
different way that would have gotten a better response? So there's so many ways within the whole AI note taking to help you improve your service or improve your level of coaching as well. So
And to be honest, sometimes I also
mhm,
want to grow my coaching skills. And I was using ChatGPT to coach myself. And I learned so much even from AI, how to ask better questions,
mhm.
framework to adopt or to make it better. It's a fascinating enhancement to in the AI LLMs.
Yeah,
So it's great, yeah, for help for
it's
us as coaches.
it's really sometimes a little scary because one thing is we're always limited by how wide and our our knowledge is, right? And so there's so many things that we don't know just
Mm,
because we haven't necessarily been exposed to certain things. Like especially within the coaching industry, there are so many different certifications or processes that you literally could spend your lifetime trying to get and learn all of them, right?
agree.
All of the different frameworks. Um,
Yeah.
but you can also just now you have AI in your pocket and you can be like, what's some of these frameworks that I could have used in this situation or something like that. So
Mhm.
there's it gives you an extra lever to grow your knowledge and a whole new set of tools that you can learn and start to apply in your coaching. So
It's a good helping tool and a good competitor. I think there will be a future where AI will pose much competition, but I see the optimism is that if we as leaders or coaches are able to
mm,
rise up to occasions, actually this will make us or force us to be more, in a certain way, successful in our
yeah,
expertise and offerings.
yeah.
So I love
I
that.
think
Yeah.
I mean every tool in the world you can let it either take over your job or you can learn to use it and augment your skills and services so that you can do
Mm.
it better faster. And I think AI and coaching are very complementary in that way, where if you can learn to leverage it and use it as a knowledge base to help you to improve and grow, then it's like a superpower for coaches, I think. This is a conversation
Absolutely.
I could kind of go on forever about because it's incredibly interesting to me. But in the interest of time, I would just love to know if you were to look back at yourself and at the beginning of your coaching journey, if you could give yourself any one piece of advice, what would you tell yourself?
It's a good question. I'll tell myself, the younger me, not to take
Mm,
myself too seriously. I think as a young man, trying to grow the confidence as a person, as a working professional, sometimes I would take it too serious, too oversensitive of my words, my
mm,
appearance, or whatsoever, that I wasn't able
mhm,
to laugh at myself and to just enjoy life with a tinge of humor at times. I think looking back, that might be contributing factors to why more tendency to give up or just more tendency to feel like
mm,
negative about work, about business,
mm,
about coaching, and whatsoever. So to the younger me, just relax and just be less serious about yourself because you're not perfect. It's
yeah.
okay not to be okay and just accept yourself. And even charisma as well. I would tell my clients is that it's not about trying to be someone else who is up there, but it's about self-acceptance of who you are and outshine yourself. So for example, I always like to give the analogy of a fruit. By the way, Daniel, what's your favorite fruit that you like to eat the most?
For me, have you ever had Korean pears?
Yes, I love that. Recently, I was in Seoul. I love that for a snack
Yeah,
at
they're
night.
like
Yeah, it was
very
good.
big, very juicy, very sweet. They're they're delicious.
So mine is durian. So Southeast Asia. Uh, from the heavenlies, people would be like, "Oh, this smelly." But the thing is, often people when they want success,
Hmm.
they look at the fruit. Like, I want the fruit, but without realizing what comes
Hmm.
before the fruit itself, which is the blooming of the flower. Now, what comes before that is the growth of the leaves, and before that will be the
Hmm.
nourishment of the tree or the fertile soil to grow the seed, the gestation of it. And I think in the same way, charisma is about the self-acceptance,
Hmm.
living out the identity. Because what you have, David, is what I don't have, and vice versa. I have something in me to give
Mm,
the strength that you don't have. And that's great because then it provides that opportunity for us just to be the best version and to outshine
yeah.
others in our own way. So, for example, I would say to my clients, if you want to be confident,
Mm,
chase the tree of charisma in terms of grow that tree, grow that acceptance, accept who you are, be less serious, and slowly but surely, the fruit of confidence will just come out eventually
mm,
effortlessly. That is what I think I'll
mm,
tell myself as well. Don't try to be confident, but just
mm,
accept yourself,
yeah.
hone your strength, learn from your failures, be okay not to be okay,
Yeah.
and you'll be fine eventually.
I think that's a hard one to learn is to it's okay to not be okay. It's okay not to be perfect,
Mm.
um, or to be professional. I think there's always that in life where we create in ourselves an idea of what it is to be a professional or to be whatever this is.
Mhm.
And so learning to accept yourself and learning to be okay with not being okay, it takes time and a lot of
Yeah,
maturity, honestly. But yeah, I love that. I love the imagery that you are drawing out because yeah, it's just perfect. I love it. So for you, I know we you talked about it just briefly. So where you're working on an app to help people with their LinkedIn branding. What else are you? What's next for you in your coaching business?
so definitely to level up, not just like, in terms of LinkedIn charisma, but is to create a movement or rather simple message to vast audience is that again, charisma is a beautiful tool. You don't have to use it or what we think that, oh, charisma
Mm,
is evil, it's dangerous. But actually, charisma can add a lot of help. Like just for me, I'm a Christian. And I think there's universal wisdom in the Bible as well. There's one verse in 1 Peter 4:9, I believe, or 19, pardon me. But it says that there is gift in us, not for ourselves, but a gift in us to serve people. And the gift actually in the Greek word is called charismata or charismata. That is the etymological word for charisma, which is not an English word. It is a Greek word. But the understanding of charisma is, again, that gift in us, not for self-serving, but to help the society, to add value to people. And I think more people embrace the true meaning of charisma. I can see the difference it makes in small units, families, communities, businesses, right? When leaders are able to encourage the message, even better for the employees who are trying to survive and then thriving. So that is a movement, eventual movement that my team and I will want to get to on platforms to share the message of hope in the beautiful charisma that we can embrace to be betterment of ourselves.
That's wonderful. Jeremiah, I really appreciate your time today. I'm very thankful to have met you, even though it's just virtually. And I think that you are well on your way to becoming a very influential coach, and you have a long list, right? So you got lots of time to get and to reaching that goal, right, of helping people. So very exciting for you and your future as a coach.
Thank you, David, for your time. I appreciate this opportunity and just love the conversation we had.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Want to stop guessing and start building a marketing system that actually fills your calendar? Head to kyber5.com/coachops and let's get systematic. That's it for today's episode. I hope you grabbed something useful you can actually apply in your business. If you did, leave a comment or share it with a friend. And hit subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you next week.